Yo, what is up? I tried to do a Turo impression, but that did not go well. Anyways, welcome back to another video, and this time we are going to discuss F1 23 in this video, and basically I'm gonna go through everything, what I think about the game, and also just some things coming up when the game actually does release. So, as you're seeing right now, you're going to see two multiplayer races. These were pre-recorded, as I know, but basically I want to kick things off though real quick with F1 22 updates real quick. So the past videos that have been coming out of multiplayer gameplay, yes, all these have been pre-recorded. Just want to let everybody know about that. I plan on having two more videos of F1 22 content coming out. Obviously I want to provide with two more before F1 23 actually releases. But as right now, this will be the first of the final three. The second one will be a multiplayer event, and then the third one will be a bit of a surprise, but not really a surprise technically if you think about it, but we're not here to discuss about that. But we're here mostly to discuss F1 23. So, I wish I did a live reaction with y'all, like on the trailer and everything, but see, in my current circumstances, when F1 was actually the EA and Electronic Arts were actually releasing the trailers, I was actually at school watching them, so I didn't want me to do a live reaction in school. I thought that would have just been so stupid. But there was no, it's like I said, never had any trailer like reactions to, mainly because I never had a face cam. That was also why another reason why I didn't react to anything about that. Mainly because I didn't have a face cam, and I feel like a face cam doesn't. I feel like a face cam kind of needs it when you react to stuff because you want to see the person's reactions. And hell, I maybe could have done one just by myself, but it wouldn't make that. It wouldn't make you guys feel like I was excited about it. So I'm glad all the other big name content creators that that play the F1 games and play with Electronic Arts. I like how they reacted to everything like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Glad they did. But what are my honest thoughts on F1 23 so far? Now, I have not yet played the game yet. I never signed up for the beta or anything, mainly because I didn't know if the hype was there, and I thought like if it was gonna possibly be the same as F1 22, but it's actually not. They completely changed my mind. Electronic Arts did. There's a couple things that they did change, and one thing that I would like to discuss is the traction. The traction was probably one of the most biggest things in F1 22 that was mainly the problem. You had to wait so long just to get on the traction. It felt like you had no grip. As you're watching this multiplayer race, I have no traction control on, and I don't spin, but you'll see you run a lot more higher gears, and you have to be very cautious on the throttle. You can't just floor it like compared to the old F1 games. You think about F1 2021, you could floor it, barely any wheel spin. Obviously, you had to climb up to like about third gear just to get it. First and second, you're still at a high risk of spinning out, but if you just go easy on the throttle, it's very much simple. But in F1 23, they changed that. The throttle inputs are actually a lot easier because actually you can full throttle about almost second to third gear, which is pretty good. It's like running medium traction control in this game with F1 22. If you run medium traction, that's kind of what the game feels like. And I guess you could say if you go back to the older F1 games and you turn traction control off, that's how apparently the game feels. But at the same time, the traction still, no one really knows because, well, I mean, I don't really know because, like I said, I haven't been playing it, but I've seen gameplay and beta, I've seen all that footage. It looks amazing, and I'm so happy that they changed that because F1 22 was such a nightmare when it came to this stuff. It was just like I honestly couldn't believe that this game was still running with the traction problems, because when I first discovered it, that was not great, especially as a player that around F1 22 I literally just started running assists off, and that was a bit hard to adapt to. So yeah, I'm glad they did change that. Another thing they also changed as well, more gameplay features. I think they did a couple of changes on engine torque. I think the engine inputs mainly depend also when you give out throttle application. as well, because I think something, I'm not really 100% sure what's up with it, but engine torque has changed a lot in this year's game, which is very, very good, because I think, engine torque last year wasn't bad on this game, but I think it was also kind of will depend though on if you feel your car kind of snapping. Because again, I mean, F122, you get random snaps out of nowhere, and you couldn't do anything about it. That was probably one of the most frustrating parts with this game. But also, when it came to engine torque changes, they actually changed a couple other things as well. And that was with actually your car snapping. So obviously, if people that play controller, I'm a controller player myself. I'm trying to switch to full-time wheel. Obviously, it's not working out the greatest right now. But if you've played F122, even on wheel or controller, you know what I'm talking about. Once you had a snap, you could not correct it. It was very hard to correct it, and I felt like it was a little bit more easier on the wheel compared to the controller, because obviously the pad or controller, whatever you want to say about it, it wasn't easy. As you saw earlier in the video, I did luckily survive a snap, but again, I mean that you just have to pray that you survive it, and if you don't survive it, then it's basically game over for you. So I think that was mainly a problem with this game as well, is because random snaps out of nowhere, and it was mainly after one of the major handling updates when F122 came out, because I think that update came up around, I'm going to say August or late July. There was a huge update. Mainly they changed the tire pressures and everything like that, and your tires really differed from it, and that's kind of why these snaps were happening. And I think F123 has changed a lot of that stuff, so you can feel when the car is about to snap, I feel like, more, and it is much easier on the controller. And also with Precision Drive technology, which is coming out for controller players, it is really good for us. What is that, you may ask? Basically, it's just to make controller a lot more easier, because you can basically change everything on the controller. You can adjust like your dead zones and anything like that. I think you can do like random combinations and stuff on like your pad if some people like want to upshift differently. Obviously, people ask, like, I mean, that play wheel, I've had a couple friends ask me, like, how do you upshift on controller? I mean, and I use the X to upshift, and I use the square button to downshift. That's how I play the game. But I think as well, though, no one really cares about that. Everyone more really cares about just Precision Drive, I feel like, because every controller player is so happy with that, because we can basically change everything we want now. Anyways, with, I think, all those handling updates, I think they also changed the car as well. Like I said, I don't have any like press notes or anything like that from the game itself. I'm just trying to remember everything on the top of my head that I saw from gameplay, but they've introduced a couple other things. I think the cars are a little bit, I feel like I think they changed like the weight of the cars more. I think they're a little bit like less heavier, but I don't know if that's true or not. It just, from the gameplay, it looks like the car is like a lot more stable than in F122, where the car was a little bit more undrivable. But you can go flat out through cops in F123, so there you go. In F122, you could not go flat out on cops. I tried it multiple times. You could never do it. You basically had to stay in 7th or 8th gear. Mainly 7th was your best option to go flat out and just try to attempt flatting out on cops, but it wouldn't happen. Coming up right here, actually, here's cops. Again, you just had to like ride the curb very closely. And speaking of Silverstone, this track actually received multiple updates. I believe it was laser scanned. Quote me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the tracks were updated in F123. Speaking of that, also new tracks came out. Las Vegas is coming out on release day, which is very cool for us. Sin City I can't wait to drive on Sin City. Obviously, it's going to be in a virtual video game and not real life, but it's going to be very fun. I've seen gameplay of Las Vegas. It looks super nice. They did a really, really good job. Obviously, the track, it might not, like I said, F1 has ever raced on it coming up until November, so no one really knows, like, the track is probably not going to be accurate, but they did a pretty good job at it. LaSalle we've actually have raced on before in the 2021 season, so they did a good job with that track. That actually looks really fun to drive as well. I was a little bit iffy on LaSalle when it first came out on the F1 calendar, and when it was getting introduced for 2023. Obviously, it didn't race in 2022 due to the World Cup. But I honestly think that they did they did a good job with it, and it looks really fun to drive. So I'm very excited about that. A couple of the track changes I saw. I know Canada got a little bit of a change real quick of some of the curbs. Austria got a huge change. I think that track has completely like changed everything. I don't know what changed completely, but I know that it's very updated. A couple things that I know aren't updated is I don't think we're getting the new Singapore layout, which is basically they're basically cutting out like kind of like the chicane going through like the grandstands and everything like that. I don't think that's going to be, obviously that's a change happening for 23 in the real F1 season, but that is clearly not coming out from what I've seen. I don't think Spa has changed at all either. I think Spa is your classic Spa, and I think that's really it. I know Spain did get an update, so everyone is curious about Spain. No, we do not have to run the final chicane, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. A couple other things about F1 23 as well, and this is actually going to be more of I wouldn't say a personal problem, but it basically what is going to be happening for me uploading F1 23 content. So obviously I don't have much more time left in this video, so I'm going to try to rush. Well, I don't want to rush everything, but I want to give you all basically what's going on. So I'm actually coming on my last week of school. Obviously I don't know how it is in, like, I live in America, so I don't know how it is in like the UK or Australia or whatever is going on down there. But I'm on my last week of school this week, which is pretty good. Obviously it won't be the release date for F1 23, obviously that'll be next week, which I did buy the Champions Edition, so that comes out June 13th. But I won't be able to cover anything on release day, mainly for a couple reasons, and that is testing. I have to take some tests and prepare some other stuff, which is not fun. No one wants to do that, but you gotta do it. So F1 23 content might be delayed for me until about the 14th of June, maybe. I'm gonna try to, once again, I mean, it's unfortunate, but like I said, I know I'm not like a huge content creator whatsoever. I'm not, like, I know I'm not, but thankfully you guys will have other content creators to watch that will be covering the game on release day, and actually you have been seeing that too with work in progress and also copies of F1 23 getting handed out to private copies handing out to some content creators. But again, F1 23 content on my side will be a little bit delayed, and when it comes to F1 23 content, I will basically be focusing more on I will be going back to playing my team, and I'll also be focusing a lot on Breaking Point. Breaking Point 2 is going to be huge. I'm glad we're getting another story mode. Basically, it's going to continue from Breaking Point 1 from F1 2021, so again, another story mode coming to the game. And we will be covering that as well. I am going to have a bit of a tough time because I don't know if I want to live stream me playing the game, playing Breaking Point, or if I should just do one video at a time or two videos at a time discovering each chapter. I might do that. Once again, don't quote me on that. We'll see when the release date comes out, and I will be providing more my team content and also some other content. I will be discovering F1 World on myself, and also a couple other things I think they're coming out with the game. Obviously we're going to play some multiplayer. We've been playing a lot of multiplayer in F1 22 lately, which has been pretty fun, but also not the greatest, because F1 22 multiplayer has just been very laggy, which I hope that they do fix so in F1 23, because I'm gonna because in F1 22 you would randomly just disconnect from a lobby. And it's mainly when you had crossplay on, and that was really just obnoxious, and I hated it. But hopefully that changes. Obviously, I wanna I wanted to kind of not only provide multiplayer content, I also want to do like everything else with F123 coming out, which will be my goal of mine, and I will be doing that. So yeah, I am not gonna just stick to multiplayer content. I will be going through everything when the game comes out. But that's all for me. Basically, I just want to provide an F123 update for y'all, and basically just kind of what's going on my channel, why you won't see content on release day, but the 14th you probably will see content. Again, don't quote me on that. Anything could change, but that is my goal. I might give a community thing out beforehand just to discuss everything about that, but that's all for me today, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Stay safe out there. Be positive, and I'll see y'all in the next one.